Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tabletop Bob. My name is Bob. I will be your keeper of arcane lore for tonight's episode of Call of Cthulhu. And everybody, have you ever felt so completely unprepared for something in your life as this right now?
Literally every day when I go to my job.
Same. Same.
Welcome everybody in the YouTube chat. My name is Bob. As I said, I'll be running the game tonight. We've got our players, Tim, John, and Dasha with us tonight. We're going to go through and discuss our characters that we made in session 0. We're going to talk about how incredibly unprepared we all are, and you're all going to watch it live for the first time. It's actually probably weird, right? Like, thinking about it, like if I don't know, if I watch somebody play D&D for the first time. Actually, I do that all the time. Actually, I've done that. I've done that probably hundreds of times, actually. Never mind. It's not that weird. But if you're watching all of us bumble around, welcome. This is going to be a first on the channel. I'm excited to play. I've been looking forward to playing this game for a long time. So, and I know you all three of you have. So we're going to go through the group. Tell us about a time that you've been so unprepared for something, or maybe it doesn't even have to be in a negative way. Unprepared in like a good way, like you thought it was going to be harder and it was easier, or vice versa. I could tell you, I could start us off though if you feel unprepared for this question. It's got to be like 11th grade chemistry regents. I was so unprepared for that. I do not know how I passed it. I don't know anything about chemistry at all. In fact, it's all a blur. I don't even remember a thing. I barely remember my teacher. So I passed the regents. All worked out. I'm a teacher now. So, what about you, John? You went to a similar place that I did.
It's actually funny that you were saying that because I was going to bring up a specific test. No, I'm gonna audible it. I'd say the most unprepared I ever was my first day, and it was a short career. My first day working in construction, where I got a job, and I had I'm handy. I grew up with a dad who made us do everything, and a mom who was involved. And basically, my first day in construction, they're like, "Go get this tool, go do that," and I was like, "I don't even know what tool I'm looking for." I was like, I was like, nope. I think I lied my entire way through the interview. And at that point on, I just, I was very good at following directions, so it worked out. But no, I did not. I don't even remember what it was, but it was probably very normal tool. And I had no idea what it was. And I had to be like, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what that is.
Wow. You lied your way to the job. And how long did that career last?
I worked that job from in between me moving
8 a.m.
back
to noon.
Yeah, no, I was there for a few months in between me moving back to America and me getting the job as a teacher at our school. So I don't know,
Okay.
6, 7 months, 8 months.
Interesting. You BS'd your way to 8 months of work. That's amazing.
Hey, at the end, the boss didn't want me to leave.
Oh my goodness. All right.
My charisma won out.
This is a success story, if I've ever heard one. Dasha, what about you?
So I typically like to be very over-prepared for things, but I think one time where I felt underprepared was when I was taking the CSET, which is like a test you have to take to be a teacher in California. So this is before I got into grad school, or while I was trying to get into grad school here to get my master's and my credential. And I teach social studies, so it was everything from ancient history through modern world, European, American, California history, which I did not grow up in California, knew nothing about besides like the gold rush and a few other like basic things. Economics,
The
geography,
49ers.
civics. Yeah, yep. No, and so I think looking back on it, I was prepared, maybe for everything but California history, but because the breadth of the content, like they could ask me a question about any time period, any content within social studies, I felt so underprepared, and I took the test. It was like 4 hours. I took all this.
Oh, uh-oh. We lost you, Dasha. You're frozen. I was unprepared for this. Mid-sentence for her to freeze.
Her internet was unprepared for tonight's stream.
Yeah, it looks like it. If she ends up cutting out, we'll just go to the wait screen for a moment. But Tim, tell us about your unprepared experience.
Generally, I don't stress. I don't feel stress. So even when I'm underprepared, which is most of the time, I can just charisma my way through it. But recently, I was going to make dinner, and I was about halfway through the cooking process, and I realized I didn't have like half the ingredients I needed to make the main course. And so I found myself wildly unprepared in the kitchen to do anything.
Oh, wow. That's the worst feeling, because like cooking is like once you start the process, I mean, you can't
No,
stop
I
it.
had like half the meal done, and it's like, no, I can't unboil the pasta I made. Like, what, now what? So,
Yeah, true. Dasha,
yeah,
welcome
charisma,
back.
through that one.
Loud and clear, Dasha, you can hear us?
I can hear you guys. Yeah. Sorry,
Okay, good.
I don't know what happened there.
John was saying your internet was unprepared for tonight.
Oh, definitely unprepared.
Was there any more to that statement? Your California knowledge, the Bear Flag Republic was not part of your repertoire?
Well, apparently I was prepared. I just didn't know it because I passed all the sections. I just,
Oh, good.
in the moment, felt very much like I do not know. I'm guessing here, but I guess good intuition, maybe.
Name 2 governors of California that were former movie stars. Go.
Reagan. I don't
Yep.
know a second one.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, that's right. I always forget about him.
It's hard to forget about Arnie.
I always forget about him for some reason.
Oh,
I
He'll
just
be
went.
back.
I just went to the Reagan Library on a field trip with some
There you go.
students.
Oh,
It's like 30 minutes away from where I live. It's really cool.
Nice.
It's beautiful. They have a whole section of the Berlin Wall there.
oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that library is really, really cool. They do like a lot of debates from there, right? Like it's like they showcase that place quite a bit.
They have speakers come, yeah. I think
yeah.
Mitch McConnell's coming
Some
soon at some
real,
point to
I mean,
speak.
celebrities
They have
practically.
senators
Mitch
coming, yeah.
McConnell.
Mitch McConnell.
Next thing you're telling me Arnold Schwarzenegger spoke there. My goodness.
I'll bet he has. I'll bet
Probably
he has.
has, yeah. Well, libraries are a big part of Call of Cthulhu. I mean, there's even a skill, library use. Does anybody have a good library use?
I think I do.
Yeah?
I mean, I'm pretty proficient in library use. A solid 50% proficient. So
Yeah, half the time it works every time. Love it.
I'm also 50% proficient.
Wow.
between the two of us, we can almost do a whole library.
Look at
I
you.
know.
Bunch of
I'm not-
min-maxers here. That's what you
Not
are.
not a learned man, that's for sure.
No, Dougal? No. So actually, this kind of segues perfectly. We'll talk about our characters now, because if you haven't watched our session 0, which is up on the YouTube channel, you can check it out at any time. We'll just give you a quick rundown. I've also attached PDFs that you can view to their character sheets that they'll be updating in real time. And Dasha, I might not have told you that, but use the one that's on the shared drive from the Cthulhu resources.
Okay.
That way, it's going to be up to date. So anybody who's watching the channel at any time could look at it. If you're looking at this and you've only seen the first episode, well, then you're probably seeing it past versions. Sorry, no, you're seeing the current version, which might actually be confusing. So don't check this out unless you're caught up. But if you're caught up and you're watching right now, you can see their character sheets on the Google Drive. And that's, again, like I said, it's in the description. Let's talk about the characters for a second. So, Tim, you said you have good library use. Who are you playing tonight?
I am playing the most holy Father Jacques Kelly, French mother, Irish father, so go by Jack. 32 years old, born in 1895, so had served previously in World War I as a chaplain's aide, and then got ordained as a priest. Spent some time in the Vatican perfecting my Latin language skills, and now am part of the Archdiocese of Boston as a your friendly local neighborhood priest.
Love it. Love Father Jacques. It's going to be great. I knew there wasn't I wasn't sure exactly how you'd go with like your character. We had a lot of ideas, but when you told me Catholic priest, I was like, oh, it's perfect. So good. And you're I guess of this time period to be a veteran of the Great War, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
That would be
Served in
World War
Have
One.
some facial scars and some damage from that. Definitely some phobias and manias related to that. Can't stand being in claustrophobic areas. Just because being in the trenches, can't stand not seeing someone's whole face because they fear of a gas attack and gas mask. So definitely left some indelible marks on my psyche.
Okay, that's actually good to know because, like I said, most characters are starting off fresh. Your character might have some built-in manias, phobias that we'll have to deal with at some point. Great.
I'm dealing with them every day.
Awesome. Dasha, who are you playing?
I am playing Maggie Moran, who is a very affluent young lady. She's 18, I think just out of her first year at Harvard University. Comes from a very wealthy family. I think her great-great-grandparents immigrated to Boston from Ireland a while ago, and her family kind of got very established, made some money. So she's had a very privileged upbringing. And now she's in university, and she's been hanging out with some young communist sympathizers. So she's having some like rebellious feelings and trying to outwardly like distance herself from her wealth, and it's all for the workers and all that good stuff. But I mean, she'll still use her family's resources because it hasn't quite gotten maybe that deep in her yet, that communist radical mindset. She's also very strong. She grew up with a bunch of brothers, so she grew up playing a lot of sports and learning how to tussle and defend herself.
Yeah, actually, when you were rolling your character stats, it was unbelievable in terms of physical abilities you had.
Yep.
Yeah, it was wild.
Beast.
Yeah. Very happy with the way your character turned out, though, and the way you connect kind of your family is going to be central to this story. So more on that in just a bit. We'll talk about Grandma, Granny Maeve, and where you're staying this summer. John, tell us about our good friend Dougal. Knows everybody's name, right? Sometimes he's at the place where everybody wants to go.
Yes, at Dougal's, everybody knows your name. Dougal is a Scottish immigrant who most recently lived in New York and has moved to Boston in some time. Dougal is 42 years old. Excuse me, Dougal is 42 years old.
You gotta get a more breath in it. Yeah.
42.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dougal is a barkeep. Loves pouring the simple drinks. None of that fancy Manhattans and all those things. Just liquid and glass. This is Dougal's status. It's been a hard work being a bartender during Prohibition.
Yeah.
But somebody's got to do it.
Well, everybody, I'm so excited to begin. Let's do it. These characters sound great, and I'm going to give you, everyone who's watching for the first time, if you didn't watch Just in Zero, or just in general, you're just coming on right now, you don't want to go back. I'm going to give a brief overview of how these characters have come together, and it really centers on the Moran family. So, Dasha, Maggie is a student at Harvard. You're 18, so you've only spent one semester or one year there, I guess. So you're in between your first and second year there.
Yes.
And your parents do not, by any means, want you on campus hanging out with these communist sympathizers. They want you...
Radical leftist.
Yes. They want, like, universal health care and things like that. That's ridiculous. So
Crazy
yeah,
stuff.
Absolutely
Anarchists
not.
and
Absolutely
Canadians.
not. Yeah, you can't have any of that. So they don't want you hanging out on campus. I mean, I guess you're allowed to go to your sports practices, things like that. What sport do you play again?
I think hockey.
Yes, I think hockey's been around for a long time. So
I don't know if it's been around for women for that long, but we'll say she got a special exemption or something. But yes, it has been around.
Even if it's not an official sport at the school, it's like, you've created maybe a group that you play with or something like that. But hockey is your sport. It's your chosen outlet. So things like that. There's some recreational things that your parents are okay with, but really Grandma's in charge. Grandma Maeve. It's dual purpose. It's serving both of you because Grandma Maeve fractured her hip some months ago, and in fact the fix, the surgery that you can do in 1927, which is when this takes place, is to have most likely a rubber hip replacement, and it could take a long time to recover from due to the lack of the medical technology. So she needs somebody. She needs somebody around the house helping her. I mean, she has a walker. She's able to get around, and she likes to think that she's actually more capable than she is because, as you know, your grandmother is one of the most fierce and independent and rugged type of individuals you've ever met. Before, when Grandpa was still alive, Grandma and him would go hunting. In fact, their family made their fortune through the sale of arms, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
Weapons are not unfamiliar to the Moran family. In fact, you might even though they've retired and probably sold their business off, your parents are also wealthy business individuals. They've moved to the up-and-coming neighborhood of New York City. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea where, but they moved somewhere else. They're out of town for this time. Maybe they are. Maybe they're in New York or some other big city, working on their businesses, and they want you to stay close, stay near grandma, help grandma around the house, as well as, grandma kind of keeping an eye on you, keeping you centered. Right? Obviously, she's a staunch capitalist herself. Now, grandma has a couple of people that are also in and out of the house all the time. Dougal, number one, a friend of hers and grandpa's before he passed away. Grandpa's been passed away he's passed about 3 years ago, so it's been a while. But she just moved into the neighborhood probably just shortly before grandpa passed. They were trying to get a place out in the countryside, and they settled on Weston, Massachusetts, which is a very wealthy and kind of secluded. I don't want to say that they don't like outsiders, but they like to keep their community close-knit. And grandma and grandpa moved there about maybe like 5 years ago, and grandpa took a turn for the worse. And now, with him gone, she's really lonely, and she actually enjoys you being there. You've been there maybe, it's probably, start of August, and you've been there maybe for a couple of months, and you get the sense that she really values having you there. You've gotten along pretty well. You're just ultimately kind of bored, is the way I see it. Dougal is one of the people that makes things a bit more lively around the place. Dougal, you can decide exactly how you knew grandma, how you met her, but what your relationship is right now is, you come and visit and you bring the good stuff. Like you said, liquid and glass. You bring the stuff that grandma can't get anywhere else. Except, of course, when her friendly neighborhood priest comes to give her communion every Sunday, because
for the sacrament.
That's right. But there's only so much that the red wine can do, right? But Father Kelly comes.
Does the rest. So
everybody's got a vice, eh?
Faith does the rest. Yes, faith does the rest. Father Kelly comes over every Sunday, particularly for communion. You come on Sunday night, so usually grandma prepares some sort of a feast, some sort of a dinner for you, the four of you really, and Maggie's obviously a big help, moving things around, lifting, getting things out of the oven, things like that. And that's where the story really starts. This story starts on a lazy Sunday evening after a long, hot day in Weston, Massachusetts. What are we eating tonight, Dasha? What was on the menu?
Maybe a roast?
Definitely a roast. Grandma's a big carnivore as well. She would go hunting with Grandpa back in the day, mostly bird hunting, but she kind of dabbled in everything. You're sitting in probably what would be the dining area. I'd imagine a nice colonial home. You've got the crown molding everywhere, and in the dining room you're kind of off to the side, and there's like a small I guess it would be like a sofa, but really a small one, maybe for just one or two people, that kind of sits with its back up against the bay window. But the chatter in this area is loud. You got Dougal, and you've got Father Kelly and Grandma, who's at the head of the table. Just at the end of a meal, there's just whatever's left of the roast, and definitely lots and lots of liquid and glasses. Dougal, what's the conversation about with Grandma right now?
Oh, me and Grandma be talking a whole bit about old hunting stories. Grandma's got some great ones. There was one time she was in India hunting the Bengal tiger. Love to hear the stories of Grandma and Grandpapa.
Well, Granny says, she chimes in, my husband, Mort, he loved to tell the tall tales, and we never went to India, but he did fancy the trip. He said, one day, we're gonna get there. Don't think it's gonna happen anymore, but, Maggie over there, maybe Maggie will one day when she gets her act together, maybe she'll find a nice man, settle down, and go to India on a hunt. Isn't that right, Maggie?
Maggie just rolls her eyes and takes a sip of her drink. I'm imagining she's like in that sofa. She's not at the table anymore. She's kind of like slumped back, holding her drink like this.
Yeah.
Just waiting for this to be over.
Yeah. Granny's probably had a few drinks, so she's a little bit more let's say, open to spilling stories of the family, embarrassing some of the other members, like, you got to have an Uncle Joey. I'm sure you have like an Uncle Joey. Maybe not. Maybe not. You're Irish. It'd be somebody else. Uncle Connor.
Uncle Connor. Yeah.
But she's a couple drinks in, and she looks over to Father Kelly, and she goes, "Father, you think Maggie will ever make it to India?"
Oh, I don't rightly know. There's not much over there. Never been myself. Never had any desire to go.
Don't they send people over there? What do they call them? Missionaries?
There are indeed many missionaries in India, but I've never had the pleasure to go myself, nor any desire to go. That's for a better man than me.
Whew, it's hot here in Massachusetts in the summertime. I can't imagine the heat would be like over there.
I'm sure it's downright oppressive, but at least we have that nice.
Oppressive, just like the capitalists.
Oh, hush up over there.
Such a waste to go to India. I know what you would want me to do in India. You'd want me to meet the local families, all your friends that you know from way back when you maybe used to travel. I want to see the people. I want to see the culture.
Well, the people need the good word too.
Oh,
you could spread the good word.
You're a wee skurna, aren't you? Always making a big fuss, eh?
She takes a sip of her drink, which I'm assuming is alcoholic. She somehow managed to get some of that, and I'm thinking she's pretty new to drinking. Maybe can't hold her drink super well yet, but she'll get there. She's getting there.
Granny looks over and she's like, "What is that in that glass? What is that?"
"Oh, Granny, don't get up too high, though." And I pour her a little more wine in her glass. I've got a whole Scottish, thing here, by the way, so I'm going to keep adding Scottish phrases in. I'm having too much fun.
Good. Keep Scottish is fine. I love it. Think about it, right? You got an Irish priest, you got a Scottish bartender, and you've got a
American communist.
American communist. It's
a young
great.
blossoming communist.
Beginning of a joke.
I'm gonna say that she's drinking whiskey, but she's gonna tell Grandma that it's apple juice.
Okay, you mind your manners over there, because I can't have your father coming over and telling me that I'm doing the wrong thing again. You understand?
Yes.
It's unbelievable. What at some point, your children become your boss. I don't get it.
"Oh, Grandma, don't be a wee bit clippy. Let the young lass drink what she wants." That'll do.
She says, "Well, I was younger than you were when I started drinking whiskey." And she takes another swig of whatever liquid you got for her, John. I don't even know. But
I have a feeling like Grandma enjoys a bit of everything, but I think, what do you think? Grandma's a brandy drinker?
It sounds probably right. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, fine. Yeah, that's it. Granny's drink is brandy. Yeah, why not?
Well, enjoy it here, because the good Lord permits no liquor in heaven. So, drink up.
There's no liquor in heaven, only the blood of Christ, eh? And every time I drink that, I get mighty blasted.
Mighty blessed. Yeah, mighty blessed, my friend. Mighty blessed.
Ah, yes. I forget the ways he talks.
It's okay. Spend many a day.
The evening's going swimmingly, just as Grandma would like it. Every Sunday being a time where she can really cut back and let loose, take the pain edge off of her hip that she's got. She's obviously mending, and it's approaching darkness, but it's summer, so it goes till pretty late. I'd say it's probably something like 6 or 6:30 in the evening at this point. And Dasha, Maggie looks out the window that she's sitting in front of, and she really is. I mean, not having a terrible summer. It's really not the worst thing that she's really experienced. I mean, sometimes she'd rather be with Grandma than with her parents, of course.
Of course.
So you look out the window to the street. It's a residential neighborhood, suburban neighborhood. You have neighbors to the left, right, across from you. It's a whole row of street, really. What street do you live on?
Maple Street.
Perfect. Yeah. You live on Maple. And you hear the sound of a car pulling up. That of a Mr. Bernard Corbitt. He's your neighbor on the opposite side of the street. So literally, he's just opposite you. You see the front of his house as he pulls up. As I said before, it is a residential area. He doesn't have a driveway, but he pulls up in front of his house with his car. I don't know what car it is, but it's for the time it would be a modern car. It'd be something that's probably made within the last few years. American, of course.
Of course? Oh, okay.
American, of course. Yeah. Mr. Corbitt. You know Mr. Corbitt just from being around the neighborhood. Of course, your grandmother moved in here 5 years ago or so. You've only visited a handful of times, holidays, things like that. So this is the first real summer where you're getting to see the neighbors. There are some other people around. To the left of you is Miss Harriet Hart. Miss Harriet Hart lives with a live-in companion. You know her as Rebecca. That's her name. But you don't know much about either of them because Mrs. Hart is a nasty old woman. She's a curmudgeon-y woman who really just sneers at you every time you see her. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, opposite you, as I mentioned, is Mr. Bernard Corbitt. He lives alone, and he's the one who's driving up to his house right now. He parks, and he's going to get out of his car. He's going to pop open the trunk of his car and withdraw from it 2 canvas-wrapped packages. One of the objects is small and round, while the other is approximately the size and shape of a small baseball bat. Carrying these items to the front door, you can see Mr. Corbitt holding both of them under one arm while struggling with the lock, the stubborn lock on his door. The larger of the 2 packages that he's holding falls to the ground, and it rolls and slides off the porch down the steps. It opens just a bit, and you catch a glimpse of something white and cylindrical. It's just lying there in the gloom. Upon closer inspection, you make out some more details. Fingers? A hand? Once you see the package fully unroll, it looks as if it is a small child's arm. Mr. Corbitt rushes over, down the steps, both the other package and his keys in his hand. And he begins to pick up the package, the one that rolled off, and wrap up the arm. What do you do?
Am I the only one that sees this?
Yeah, the rest of them are at the dinner table talking about India.
I will kind of shake my head and look again and see if I saw what I saw correctly. And then I'll turn around and say, Granny, does Mr. Corbitt have children? Because I just saw the oddest thing.
You look back out, you do that double take, and I mean, you see him. He doesn't touch it with his own hands, but he wraps up this small arm in that canvas wrapping, and quickly stores it under his arm again and does a quick look around and then heads back to the door and finally opens it up. And he's doing this as you ask the question. Granny says to you, "What's that, dear? Mr. Who?"
Does Mr. Corbitt have children, Granny? I just saw the oddest thing.
She talks to me like I'm a child sometimes. I can hear. I'm not deaf. Mr. Corbitt, Bernard.
Yes.
Oh no, he doesn't have children, dear. No.
Does he typically? Well, I just saw something.
Dasha, I need you to actually do one more thing for me.
Yeah.
This whole thing is gonna just feel rather off to you. I need you to give me a sanity roll.
Oh.
Okay.
So here's what's gonna happen. Here's what's gonna happen. I'm switching over to the Roll20 view. You're gonna give me a sanity roll, which is basically, you could see it on your character sheet. It's labeled. It's your power. It starts at your power. Excuse me. And this is gonna change throughout the entire game. You're gonna roll a D100, and you're going to compare it to your sanity. If you match it or get lower, you will succeed. If you roll higher, you will fail. It's a regular sanity roll.
Okay. That would be a 26. Mine is a 40, so I think I'm good.
You can decide how this shakes you and kind of unnerves you, but you're able to calm yourself. You know what you saw. That's not a question here. You know what you saw.
How far is this happening from us? Like, how many feet? How many yards? Is it a very narrow street? Like, is this...
It's a road for
farther away?
cars to travel on, so it would be... It's literally happening across the street. I don't know. I've measured how far exactly, but I'd imagine from your window, from your like bay window, I don't know, 100 feet.
And is you said there was a spherical object as well, wrapped in canvas?
He had a spherical object and
How
a
small?
rather small.
Like
Small like a
child's head?
baseball, like child head small.
I'd say something along the lines of, yes, like a small melon, cantaloupe of sorts.
And is there anything else I know about Mr. Corbitt from living here all summer?
Well, you can give me an intelligence roll, which is
Let's do that.
a characteristic, exactly, a stat. It's not a skill, it's a intelligence roll.
Intelligent. Oh, okay, great. I should be good at that.
Mr. Corbett's not a good Catholic boy, is he?
Ooh, I did not do well at that roll. 97.
97. What is your stat for... Oh, no, never mind. So it's not going to be a... It's not a fail. It's not a fumble, I should say. This is not a skill check. So yeah, you've seen him, but like in regards to his routine, what you know about him, I mean, you haven't ever taken the time to think about Bernard Corbitt before this. Tim, you had a question?
Yes, Bernard Corbitt. Does he, by any chance, go to the St. Michael of Lords?
He goes to St. Lords of Michael.
Ah, of course, the crosstown rival.
No, he actually is not a practicing Catholic. He's not a parishioner of your church. You don't know about his religious background. You might know more about him, though. You can also give me an intelligence roll.
I
Name
don't
is
mind
Corbitt.
that.
What kind of Catholic has the name Corbitt? Sounds like a Protestant if I've ever seen one.
True.
We're in New England too.
I got a 73 and my intelligence is 75, so...
So that would be a success, a regular success.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can actually, when you call that out, you can probably say like 73 under whatever, so I know that you succeeded.
73 under,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
73 under 75. So you have success. I would say that you know a little bit about Mr. Corbitt from just living in the area. He's well-mannered. He's well-liked. In fact, you probably heard at some point that he's people have asked him to at some point run for mayor. He's just a very lovable type of individual in Weston. He is a business owner. You don't know exactly what he does, but he's a business owner. He does some sort of work in Boston in the city.
Got it. Thank
But
you.
he's not a parishioner of your church, so I'd say you don't know much more.
Sure, yeah, no, that's brilliant.
Is Mr. Corbitt a drinker?
No. I'd say you probably know something similar along the lines of his reputation. I wouldn't say you know anything else about him other than that, Dougal.
Can't.
Maggie's going to, she feels unsettled. She feels like her drink might be coming up a little bit. She's going to stand up and walk over to the table, set her drink down, and just say, I think I just saw a child's arm fall out of Mr. Corbitt's grasp as he was trying to open the door.
What? Granny says when you make this accusation. She starts to grab her walker and try to raise herself from the chair, which is always very hard for her.
No, Granny, sit. No need to worry. I'm sure it was nothing. I'm sure I imagined things. It's the drink. I don't have this too often.
It's the heat getting to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Nonsense. You have great eyes. You have Moran eyes. You can see a quail through a forest. A crowd. She's like grabbing her walker. She's coming over to the bay window. She stands there right next to you on the sofa. Well, not on the sofa. You're on the sofa. She stands next to you. And she's looking out, squinting. Her glasses, trying to grab her glasses out of her pocket.
I'm just like trying to support her elbow so she doesn't fall.
Yeah. And Granny's, like I said, she's not a helpless type, okay? Before the fall and she broke her hip, she she did everything, right? She didn't ask for help. She never wanted people to treat her as anything other than equal. So she would always do her own thing. So she's trying to brush you away as you're trying to hold her off, stabilize her or something, and she's looking. I just saw him close his door. What was he carrying? I couldn't see. What else was in his hand?
Well, he got out of the car and he had 2 small parcels wrapped in some sort of canvas. One was long and cylindrical looking, and one was more spherical, and he dropped one and I thought I saw a hand. But again, maybe I'm wrong. This could be nothing. This is illogical. Why would Mr. Corbitt have a hand, have an arm?
Yes, that's so strange. She looks to you and kind of stares at you. She wants to see how much you've drank. She looks at your glass, back at your eyes. She's trying to kind of stare at you, see how glassy they are. She's like, Bernard's always such a pleasant person whenever I've seen him. In the years we've been in this house, he's been such a gentleman. When your grandfather, when Mort died, he brought over, and he does it regularly. He brings over vegetables from his garden, fruits from he's got that greenhouse in the back. He brings over all these hand-grown fruits and veggies, and in fact, you see right there? She points to whatever, there's like the zucchini, whatever she made, succotash or whatever it is, whatever to go along with the roast. It's all from Mr. Corbitt's garden.
Love thy neighbor as they love thyself.
What kind of hand you talking about? Was it a little stuffed animal hand?
Maybe
No,
that's what it was.
Some kind of rubber thing for the children to play with?
A rubber arm? You really think children want to play with a rubber arm, Dougal?
I don't know. Your boom's out the window. You're talking all this rubbish.
I know what I saw, I think. Unless, then she'll look at the drink again.
I know what I saw.
It was, I think.
You do. No, you do believe what you saw. There's no mistaking it. Yeah, there's no mistaking it.
If there's one thing I know, if you catch somebody doing something they're not supposed to do, they're gonna sound like a bumbling idiot. Let's go knock on his door and ask for a cup of sugar. And if he's the nice neighbor that you're saying, Maeve, then be no problem. But if he's doing something he ain't, I guarantee you he ain't gonna be so neighborly.
It's past dinner, Dougal. He would be suspicious if we were asking him for some sugar. Why would we be cooking after dinner? Let's go thank him for the vegetables.
Dasha.
Maggie's kind of mean. I'm making her kind of...
Tell him that the succotash was scrumptious.
Yes, that's better.
Real quick, the two of you are, John and Tim, are your characters still at the table?
No, I would
I
have
would not got off the table. I'm enjoying my roast. It's really excellent. Excuse me.
Okay, so you're still at the table. Father's enjoying his free meal. Typical priest. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
definitely like to hear a bit of gossip. So once they started talking about a hand rolling on the floor, I wanted to hear, as the barkeep does, you listen to the gossip.
Dougal's like, this is just another day at the bar. Arm chopped off, rolling on the floor.
So then,
Finally, something interesting is happening.
Dougal and Maggie, give me spot hidden rolls.
Is there something hidden in the zucchini?
No. No.
Okay.
Ew.
So you're going to roll your dice and tell me what you've got under your total.
Okay. That's fine.
Oof. So I'm a 90 under 50.
I'm
Okay,
a
so
6
you-
under 55.
6 under 55. Is that an extreme
I believe
success?
it is.
Well,
Yes.
it's not like a critical hit or anything like that. Basically, extreme, whatever it is just going to be a success here because all you needed was a regular one. You see some movement coming around the side of Mr. Corbitt's house. You can see Mr. Corbitt Bernard Corbitt again, coming now back towards the street, but he clearly went out the back door, and now you see him coming towards your house, and he's got a bag in his hand, like a brown paper bag. He's dressed in his work, what you'd assume would be, well, I guess his work attire and his leisure attire is basically the same. Like if they all wear button-up shirts, ties, hats. Maybe doesn't have his tie on right now, but the rest of it is all the same. And he walks up, across the street, and he's heading towards your house.
Looks like he might be doing our job for us. He's coming over here. Are the lights on in his house? Can we see?
They were never turned on. No, there's still some daylight, and he has only been in his home for, 5 minutes at this point. Mm-hmm. So no, I would say no.
I'm gonna, as he comes across the room, just gulp down the rest of my whiskey and prepare myself.
I'm gonna sit back down and start eating. Hey, Maeve, should we be hiding the alcohol? Is this man gonna turn us into the coppers?
Granny says, I don't believe he will, but, let's just put our glasses to the side. No need to have him come in at this hour. He never stays for dinner.
All right.
You hear the knocking. And
do we have servants?
No, you do not. Granny refuses to have servants, so...
Awesome. Maggie loves that.
You are the servants.
I am the She loves it from her, down with the, the capitalist swine, whatever. But now she realizes she now has to do all the work, which she's not a huge fan of. But she'll go get the door.
Do you have servants in your parents' home?
I think the parents have servants, and I think Maggie does not like it, but also grew up with it, so she's used to it, and didn't realize what it's like to live without servants until she went to live on her own.
Yeah, probably a little different. Big game change here.
Yeah.
All right, so you run to the door?
Yes.
Okay.
Run to the door and open it up.
All right, you get to the door, and it's Mr. Corbitt, obviously. So you swing that door open, and you see Mr. Corbitt standing there with the bag. Hi, Maggie, is it?
Yes. Hello, Mr. Corbitt, is it?
That's correct. We I don't think we've ever formally met. Every time I've seemed to drop off things for Maeve, you were either at class, but she talks so fondly about you. Do you mind if I step into the entryway? I have something for her.
Of course. Come on in.
Sure,
it's nice to meet you. She's gonna reach out a hand, and I want to feel if he gives her a handshake, is his hand clammy?
He'll give you a handshake, and yeah,
okay.
It definitely feels clammy. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is his hand shaking at all, or just...
Nope, no,
steady?
not shaking. No, he'll shake your hand, but it's not. He doesn't have a jitter. No. Although, if you'd like to give me a psychology roll, you could see if you can discern anything from him.
Sure, I'll do a psychology roll. That is not great. Okay.
What is your psychology?
25 is, I think, my psychology. So, 68 over 25.
No, you're kind of flustered yourself. Like you said, that vision that you saw just moments ago kind of still rattled you. You don't see anything.
I hear Mr. Corbitt walk in. I will stand up from the table and journey towards the foyer to also greet the new dinner guest.
Father Kelly. Yes. Father Kelly, welcome. I shouldn't say welcome. Hello.
Good to see you.
He'll shake your hand, and he bumbles around with his bag, and Granny Maeve is coming. She's moving slowly, walking towards the room. Dougal, are you still in the dining area?
Yeah, I'm definitely just staying put, listening.
Gotcha. I'll just describe Mr. Corbitt to you. Mr. Corbitt is actually, I would say he clearly looks like a businessman. All right, with not only his attire, but just the way he carries himself. Always kind of, present. Always feels like he's being sociable. He looks like he's middle-aged. He has some thinning brown hair. It's neatly groomed, though. He's an attractive man with a kind face. And he is, I think, like I said, the clothes that befit that of the head of some sort of business or corporation. And he'll look to all of you and smile and nod, and then Granny Maeve comes into the foyer, and he says, "Maeve, how's the hip healing?" And she goes, "Oh, it comes and goes. The pain, I should say, comes and goes. What have you brought this time, Bernard?" And he goes, "Oh, well, there's some beautiful summer squash growing in the greenhouse. I figured it'd be great to deliver it to you all." And he gives you a bag. It gives it to you, Maggie. Just a heaping pile of squash. Heavy. I mean, it's probably a dozen or so squash.
It's a lot of squash. I'll take it from him. Thank you. It's a heavy bag. It's a surprise you didn't drop it on your way over.
Oh, well, I am known to be a klutz from time to time. But not today, thankfully. The garden has given me plentiful gifts. Isn't that right, Father?
He giveth, and he's been known to taketh away, so harvest while you can.
Yeah. Is this the usual Sunday crowd I see from across the road? Across Maple?
Yes.
Granny's like, yes, Father comes and stays for dinner. It's wonderful to have his company. And he'll do his best to peer in and sees Dougal at the table still sitting there with the food. And he just kind of nods. Doesn't say hello, but just nods. Probably knows who you are. Knows the type of people you hang with. You have a reputation. He'll just wave. Well, I don't want to keep you all. Just wanted to pop in and see how the hip was doing. Tell me how the squash is. And did you happen to make the zucchini?
Yes, we did. We made it, and it's on the table now.
Oh, wonderful.
Would you care to try some?
Oh, I've already eaten tonight. Don't have as much of an appetite at this point. But thank you. It's been great to catch up. Granny, perhaps sometime this week I'll stop by, and the tomatoes are ripening on the vine. And she's like, "Okay, thank you, Bernard. You have a wonderful evening, too. Appreciate the helping hand you've given me."
Does
And
he
he'll-
react when she says hand?
Nope, cool as the other side of the pillow. He bids you all farewell and heads out across the street. And as soon as the door closes and she looks out the window, the bay window again, she'll look to all of you and she's going to be like, "I don't trust him as far as I could throw him now. He seems so nice. Unreal. You never know who's living next door."
How big is his greenhouse?
I only catch glimpses of it from the sidewalk. When I used to go for my 10-mile runs every morning, it was beyond the hedges.
It's in incredible shape.
Granny she's rock solid. I mean, that's where the Morans get it from. You're a hardy folk.
She's got a much higher constitution than me.
She does.
And me. She's got tomatoes and summer squash and giving away pounds and pounds of it. Either it's a multi-large greenhouse or he's doing something strange to make everything grow. I used to grow many things back in Dunfermline many years ago. Something don't seem right.
Granny's like, "I think I'm going to be sick to my stomach. Are you suggesting that the zucchini and the squash?" Dasha, you're holding the squash, right? Maggie's holding the squash?
Yep.
Throw that away. Throw that away, girl. We're not eating that now.
She won't even take it anywhere. She'll just drop it, put her hands up and. Are you
Squash.
insinuating, Dougal, that he is fertilizing his garden with body parts?
You can fertilize a garden with any type of rotten flesh. I don't know why it'd have to be.
She's gagging.
A fish would do just fine. If you've seen that movie in the future called Pocahontas, fish would do just fine. But I don't understand why
What's a movie? No.
they had movies.
The old
They
movers
had-
and
The
pictures.
pictures.
They had moving pictures, but what technology did they? Was it all silent at this time? I don't even know.
Yeah, oh,
19
definitely, yeah.
I think 20s, yeah.
1927, everybody.
By the
Chat,
way,
help us out.
The fastest car in the world at 1927 went 203 miles an hour.
Oh,
That's
that's pretty.
fast.
That's pretty fast, is it not?
Astonishing to look up. That was insane.
That feels
Like,
pretty
wow.
fast.
That's
Yeah.
really fast.
Like really fast. I was so impressed.
Yeah. She's like, oh my.
That's important. You know, it's called a Sunbeam 1,000 horsepower. It's a non-American
Wow.
car.
Of course.
Wow. Okay. Well, no, I don't know that. The Call of Cthulhu book does not tell me that, so I don't know that. But
I've taken it upon myself to Google 1927 random facts.
Granny's like, oh, first the Red Sox are having the worst season in their history, and now Mr. Corbitt is fertilizing my food with body parts.
Now, we don't know that to be true, and it's not very neighborly to spread that kind of hearsay around.
You're right. The Red Sox will be back next year.
God willing.
Did you hear about the piano that
She'll make the sign of the cross.
Who would make a piano go into a lake? It was a perfectly good piano.
What? What are you rambling on about, Dougal?
That's the curse. The curse of the Bambino. They had to like take the piano out of the harbor or something, right?
Nonsense. I don't believe in curses. The Sox are going to win the pennant next year. It certainly won't be 84 more years until they win.
Oh, I know I've been in Boston for a couple of years, but it's so hard to do any better than the New York Yankees and the Brooklyn Dodgers. New York is what baseball is and what baseball will always be.
I'm sorry to interrupt your nice baseball conversation, Dougal. But we just ate body part fertilized zucchini for dinner.
I was just speculating. I have no idea if that's how it happened, but I'd like to find out.
Granny looks to all of you. By the way, squash just like splattered all over the floor in the foyer. The bag is ripped open when you dropped it, and there's just about half a dozen squash rolling around on the floor. Granny says, all right, here's what we're going to do. You're going to clean this up, Maggie, because you made this mess. Now,
I'll give you a hand, lass. Don't worry.
good. I mean, I would do it myself, but your father would scream at me if I suggested such a thing.
No, of course, Granny, of course, I'll clean it.
Good. And then we have to plot how we're going to uncover the secret of Mr. Corbitt's garden.
Maybe
Any
we can
ideas?
Maybe we can just ask him to see the garden. I love this squash. It was magnificent. You know, Dougal's been trying to go to squash for a long time. I speak in third person now, apparently. And maybe I'll just ask for some gardening tips, some secrets.
That's possible. Perhaps we can do that. But it'd have to be without him watching. You can see Granny, like the gears are turning. She's getting very excited about this proposition. Probably the most exciting thing that's happened all summer that you've been here, obviously. She's been locked up basically with the hip. So she's like all into this. Now, Maggie, don't you have some newfangled library system at... Where do you go again?
Harvard, Granny.
Oh, yes. I'm sure that place won't catch on. But they have a newfangled library there, don't they?
Yes, they do.
They would keep records, archives, newspapers. I don't know much about Mr. Corbitt other than the friendly neighbor across the street. Oh, the neighbors. She looks around and she says, perhaps there are other people in town that know more about Mr. Corbitt.
Well, who's been living on the street the longest? Who's known him since he moved here? Maybe the, grouchy Miss Hart next door, or someone else that we know?
Oh, that old bag, Miss Hart? She might know something. She's never once said a kind word to me, though. I don't know if I can perform an introduction here, but she might be somebody to talk to.
I can't quite speak a bit about Mr. Corbitt and his associates, but I might know somebody who knows how to get a bottle or two if you need one.
Father, how do you feel about Dougal saying he knows how to get a body part?
Maybe I could talk to some people and find out how you might get somebody. A child, no less. Father, any orphanages in town look for missing children?
I can certainly ask around at St. Mary's. You know, there are many a wayward child. I don't think they're
We
sold
all
as body parts.
We all know how your type loves the wayward child.
No comment.
Dougal does not like priests and religion, and yeah.
You probably do have a respect for Father Kelly, though, I would assume.
Love him. Man, he's a drinking man. He's a man's man.
Is Miss Hart a good Catholic woman, by any chance? Do you know her father?
I'm going to go ahead and say your decision, Tim. Do you want to know her very well?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Miss
Maybe
Hart.
she's a good holiday Catholic. You know, I get her on Ash Wednesday and Easter and Christmas, and that's it.
Yeah, she's the Catholic who goes on the big holidays. She's elderly though. She doesn't really get out of the house all that much. But you do see her with her, like I said, live-in companion to grocery store, things like that. You'll see her about in town, but never alone. So it might just be that regular weekday services are hard, but she'll make a few. We'll say she makes a few, and she makes the important ones. But what's also most important about Miss Harriet is that she...
Sorry, I thought Miss Harriet Hart.
Miss Harriet Hart. Yeah. Let's see here. Actually, she's very much into the Bible. She can quote it pretty well, and she also knows all the people. When she was a active church member, she would always talk about every old family in the area. Says that her family goes back to colonial times.
Got it. All right. So yeah, then we got a word for people like Miss Harriet Hart. We call them lace curtain Catholics, but I've been known to run into her now and then.
The neighborhood would call her the local spinster.
Old biddy be the word
Old
that we
biddy.
use around the church.
So yeah, that would be Miss Harriet Hart. Dougal, you might know somebody to get a body part. Who do you think you might be able to know?
I definitely know some people who deal in unsavory smuggling and unsavory dealings. So maybe the same people who be getting me my liquor can know the people who might be able to get some dead bodies.
Where is your bar located? Is it in Boston?
Yeah, in Southie. I don't know, I just made that up. Yeah, in Boston.
Okay.
It's the one neighborhood I know.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Maybe you can go ask somebody there about. Is there a possibility that there's some sort of illegal body part trade going on?
Wouldn't be the first time for medical experiments. Many people used to trade in bodies back in
really?
Scotland.
Back in Scotland? Okay, yeah, sure, fair enough.
There's a famous lad called Leonardo da Vinci, and he used to definitely love to trade in body parts.
Okay.
Angelo, one of them, used to dissect a bunch of bodies. There was like a whole big thing. The church had to make like cadavers
He's
illegal.
a heretic.
Yeah,
I just went to Scotland over winter break, and I went to like the Surgeons Museum, and they had all these like old preserved body parts and
Get out
stuff
of here!
on
Really?
display. Yeah, no, there's like an exhibit about like all the grave robbing that went on to be able to perform autopsies to learn for science. But yeah, there's a lot of preserved, even children's body parts actually.
Hearsay.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Hearsay.
Are you saying it's hearsay or that it's
Heresy.
that
Heresy.
really-
Heresy.
really-
Heresy.
Heresy.
Heresy. That's it.
It's hearsay and heresy.
It's heresy.
It
It's
is
both.
definitely hearsay.
Erroneous.
Erroneous on all accounts.
Tim, it took me like you said that word like 4 times before I realized.
Nice.
I knew what I was trying to say.
And Maggie, what's your ideas here?
Well, I'm happy to go do some research in the library. I do have access during the summer, though we don't have classes right now. I could see if maybe some of my friends are on campus and would be willing to help me. She hasn't been able to see her friends all summer, so she's like itching at the chance to go back to campus and hang out with them as she does this research.
Yeah. Now, hold on there, young girl. I don't think Granny's oblivious. Your parents told me not to let you back on campus unless it was for very specific activities. And how am I to know if you're going to go contact a friend that you're going to go and do this research the right way and not meddle with some communists of yours?
Granny, I promise. I will go to the library, I will do the research, and I will come right back.
All right.
I didn't
But-
say who I'd hang out at the library with, but...
But Father Jock, please, can you accompany her to campus?
Of course, I'm very familiar with the Divinity School.
Maggie's plans have been foiled. She groans.
Yes. Yes, good.
Does he have to?
Oh, we've all spent time at Harvard. Those rich kids, they certainly love to buy their booze.
Oh, Dougal, you've been on campus?
Any place to make a quick buck. Nothing like a couple of young kids to pay too much money for alcohol.
Oh, well then perhaps you could go as well. If you're familiar with the area and it's wouldn't cause an alarm.
It certainly wouldn't cause an alarm. The gatesman on the west end is a good parishioner of mine. I have my own parishioners.
Well then, this will be the base of operations. She clears off the dining table. She moves all the leftovers and things to the side. And she's like, Maggie, put these all away. And she starts to lay out like a piece of paper, something like that. She gets like a fountain pen. And she starts to write down everything we know. She's writing down Dougal and body parts, connection in Boston. She's writing down Father, Kelly, Miss Harriet Hart. She's talking about Harvard University Library. She's writing all these things down. Everything you've discussed, she starts writing down at the dinner table. She looks almost giddy, Maggie. You've never seen your grandmother as excited, and you've seen her right now.
Not since Grandpa died.
Not since Grandpa died, exactly. She hasn't been this giddy.
Hey,
Well,
Granny.
I'll start cleaning up.
Alright, I'll take Granny to the side and have a little conversation if I can.
Yeah. Maggie will go clean the dishes. Father, you'll go wash up after dinner. And
Yes.
what do you have, Dougal?
Hey, Granny. I've got a bad feeling about this. I know your previous job and how your family made money. You have something to protect yourself, Granny. If we're leaving you here all by yourself, right next to this body part garden grower, I want to make sure you can keep yourself safe.
Huh. She like kind of scoffs almost. And she says, you think Granny doesn't know how to protect herself? And she kind of motions her head over to the mantle, the fireplace. Right above it is her old Remington shotgun.
Keep it loaded and keep it near.
It's always loaded, honey.
Do you have any more conspicuous weapons that we may take with us, Granny?
Well, I don't really want to give my granddaughter or anybody with her a weapon. It's Mr. Corbitt. I'm not too concerned, but if you feel at some point that you need it, you know where to come.
All right, Granny. You need to keep that here for yourself. I've got my own ways.
Do you have a weapon or no?
We haven't fully discussed it, but I feel like if I own a bar, why would I not have a shotgun?
I don't know, but you definitely wouldn't carry it around with you.
No, it's in
Yeah.
the bar for sure. It'd be super big, and I could not just walk around with it.
Gotcha.
Even though I have no idea what the gun laws are in 1927.
From
Yeah,
what I've read in the Call of Cthulhu book, is that there are very little. So really, I mean, you could have it. I mean, you might not have access to it. Certain people might not have access to them, but
I mean, it's like a handgun. You could kind of like mildly hide on yourself would be fine, but I think walking
Yeah.
around with like open arms would be frowned upon.
Yeah, I don't know what the penalty would be in 1927 for carrying a weapon on you, but I mean, you wouldn't want to show it off in front of police officers, things like that. You wouldn't want to, flaunt it. But yeah, I'm sure people were able to carry a little bit more openly.
You can have a Tommy machine gun, but you can't have a bottle of beer. 1927, yay!
True.
For me then, if it's okay with you, I'd say my bar has like a fairly old shotgun for protection, but I wouldn't say like I had something as cool as a handgun. And maybe I have to procure that.
Sure, like an Elmer Fudd style double barrel shotgun, something like that.
And with like the 2 flintlocks, they're like on the top.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
There is in the investigator's handbook, which I did share with you. There's a whole section about guns. So look at see which one you might have. It even gives you like the dates of when they were made and what era they'd be prevalent in. If you wanted to have like a really old one, you could. The one I gave Granny, the Remington, was something that like, she could have gotten. They don't make it anymore, but it's not like completely old. It probably would have been like 20 years old.
Yeah, I that one is in the bar and it has a function. I think I might like to try to purchase a handgun if we're going around doing some kind of stuff like this.
That might be possible too. Yeah, you could purchase one. I mean, again, you don't have as much money as you're not loaded. What's your wealth? Your
quite substantial. Actually, I have a 60 credit rating.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, it's not like you're one of the richest people in America, you know what I mean?
Oh.
But yeah. Okay. And Tim, just out of curiosity, what items do you have that would be applicable right now? You'd have no weapons, right? Father Kelly doesn't carry guns, I assume.
No, carry a pocket Bible and a rosary, but definitely no weapons.
Those are your weapons.
Holy water?
Armed with faith, baby.
Okay. Gotcha. And Maggie might surprise us all.
Maggie has her Harvard student ID. She has a hockey puck. And she has a yet-to-be-determined small handgun that nobody knows about because it was given to her by some of her communist friends, and she doesn't want anyone to know she has it.
Not even Granny, huh?
Not even Granny. No one knows. She hides it. It's like one of those really small ones that you can easily hide in a purse.
Gotcha. Okay, so then you can... Yeah, there is definitely one like that. I saw a whole list of those pistols in the investigator's handbook, so you can look at that at some point. Again, I don't know that we'll need it right now, but, it could come into play at some point. All right, so dinner's cleared. It's dark. The evening's just about over. If it was any other evening, Father Kelly would probably already be waiting for the bus to take him back to St. Mary's and or the trolley. I'm not even sure what exactly the mode of transportation is right now. And then Dougal, you probably would have also been walking back towards the direction of your bar. I guess to the city, maybe trying to catch a ride as well, maybe a bus, maybe even Father Kelly, for at least a time, share the bus ride.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I think we would.
But what do you want to do right now? Do you want to depart? How do you tell me how you want to lead the investigation?
I don't know when we want to get in that house, but I want to get in that greenhouse eventually.
Well, discuss. How would you like to do it?
Are we going in at night?
I don't believe so. No, I think he's just saying, you can correct me, John, you're just saying at some point you want to get to the greenhouse.
It doesn't have to be today.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do, or this evening, maybe we should be doing some more research to find out even what we would be looking for. But I don't know. We could also, if we go in there, we find some kind of this is now John speaking, and some occult symbol, then we have to go back to the library to research it anyway, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's too late now. It would be suspicious if we went knocking on his door. Yeah. It's after dinner time after all, so why don't we make our inquiries tomorrow morning and come back to his house at supper time?
Well, what time did he come home today? He came home
about 6:30. Yeah, 6:30. Yeah.
Does Granny know what time he leaves every day? Does he go every day out? Was this an odd day that he was out of town?
So just peeling back the curtain a little bit, I had Dasha make an intelligence roll because she's been living at the house to see if she recognized any sort of schedule pattern, and she couldn't. However, Granny will just say that he works in Boston every day. He's, a typical 9 to 5 type individual.
Even on the Lord's Day, it's Sundays, working 9 to 5. Even God needs rest, Maeve.
It's a good point, Father. I don't believe he does work on Sundays. I've never thought of exactly what he does. I mean, he lives alone. I heard he was a widower, or a widower, yeah.
Oh, there's always a bunch of little orphan boys that hang out or outside my bar. Maybe I could pay one of them to follow him.
Yeah, it's possible. You could do that.
Are you Sherlock Holmesing this? The Baker Street
Yeah,
gang?
the gang.
Pretty much. Thank you for picking up on that so quickly.
Many Sherlock Holmes references in this module.
If one of them wee lads don't come back, I'm gonna have his head.
Do you want to go back to your residences? Do you want to go call it a night and then meet somewhere in the morning?
Oh, my bar's just about to open up. I gotta get back there.
Fair enough. For the rest of you, the non-nocturnal people, do you want to call it a night and then head back to a certain location in the morning?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where do we want to reconvene in the morning?
Well, you need to escort me to campus, apparently, so why don't we meet back here and you can take me?
Brilliant. After morning mass it is.
All right,
Great.
after you're done lunch and meet me at my bar, I'll have some more information by then.
Perfect. Let's change the scene then. We head to your bar. What's it called, John?
It's called. I should have prepared that.
That's the bar's name? I should have prepared that?
It's well, it doesn't have a name because it's illegal. So
Well, what's
it's
yeah.
called the Barber Shop.
Okay. Dougal's Barbershop?
Yeah, but anyone who speaks Scottish understands that means an imposter barber shop. So I wouldn't put my name in front of it.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's called like the, whatever, the South End Barbershop, and you run it. I guess you pose as a barber, and beneath the floor, you have like a little back entrance that goes to like a basement, and that's your speakeasy, right?
Yeah, actually, I want to retcon that. I sell hats. That's what I do.
Okay, what is that called?
A haberdasher.
Haberdashery?
Haberdashery? Is that what it is?
We both know
Yeah.
that. I'm a haberdasher.
Haberdasher. Yeah, you're a haberdasher. Can you hear the music right now? I don't know if you can.
Yeah, it's probably there.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, I have a hard time. I feel like something's off with my headset today. Maybe I don't know why, but I feel like I'm not hearing things like I normally hear. Oh, now I don't hear anything, actually. Hold on. I just switched up something. There we go. I feel like were you able to hear me just now?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like something's off with my headset tonight. I feel like I can't hear the volumes well. So if you're watching, let me know if the volume is okay. Yeah. So you're in your haberdashery, but it's nighttime. It's the shop's closed, and you've got the regular crew coming in. There is somebody here, a young kid by the name of Bobby Linsky. Bobby Linsky is one of the neighborhood paper boys. A lot of the paper boys in the area do this because they kind of want to get out of the situation they're in, and doing it in the neighborhoods that are really wealthy seem to be like the ticket, right? If they can maybe make some contacts and make an honest living, maybe they can get out of their situation that they're in right now. These orphans, these kids. I wouldn't say Bobby is an orphan though. I just say that he knows the routine. He ultimately wants to be a doctor one day, but for now he runs errands for you at the speakeasy, And during the mornings, which I guess he sleeps mostly during the afternoon, he delivers paper, and one of his routes is Weston.
Hey, Bobby, you're just the lad I was looking for.
Oh, hey, Dougal, what's up?
I got a way for you to make a bit of extra coin.
Oh, you want me to pick up another case? You want me to go down to the docks?
Nah, this one ain't that type of case. It's the type of case where maybe you'll be doing some information gathering.
Oh. Is this going to be dangerous?
Well, possibly. I mean, it's not any more dangerous than dealing with mobsters and drug smugglers and rum runners down at the docks. Probably a hell of a lot safer.
All right, well, what's the deal? What you got for me?
Well, down in the neighborhood where you remember where we first met? Down in Weston?
Yeah, Weston. Yeah. My paper route.
Yeah, well, there's a house on Maple Street owned by Mr. I want to say Conrad. I'm forgetting his name.
Corbitt.
Corbitt, thank you. Owned by Mr. Corbitt. He's somebody I'm wanting to know a bit more information about. I'd like you, after you finish your paper out, to follow him, find out where he works and where he goes after work.
He's like, wait, Mr. Bernard Corbitt?
Yeah.
Oh. Are you sure?
As sure as I am that I ain't a monkey's asshole.
Oh, it's just I don't know, it's just he saved my life. 2 years ago. Yeah, you remember I got into that car accident?
I'd love to hear the story again. You know me drink and I don't listen very well.
Well, I was coming up on Chestnut and Maple, and this guy just ran that stop sign, hit me square. I flew right over top of the car. Next thing I know is I was in the street. I had blood all over me. I couldn't feel my legs, and there was Mr. Corbitt, fashioned in some sort of like a tourniquet, a brace, got me to the hospital. Saved my leg because of it.
You got hit by a car and thrown across the street and you didn't die?
Yeah. Doctor said it was because of my my grit and resilience.
What kind of doctor did he take you to?
He took me to the hospital.
The hospital?
Yeah,
Boston Presbyterian?
Boston Hospital, yes. I don't know what hospital's around, but yeah.
It was matter. William and Mary Hospital. Actually,
Yeah.
that's 2 Catholic in Boston.
Yeah, William and Mary, yeah. Massachusetts General, actually, I think it was.
Well, maybe I got it all wrong, and maybe Mr. Corbitt is the one who's in danger. But I need to know about his daily routine, and I need it to be quiet, Bobby.
All right, well, look, I'll do my best. I mean, I'm not. Listen, I mean, the guy saved my life. I owe him a debt, but you're paying me, so if you pay me, I'll do it. I'll try to see what's going on. I'll try to follow him around. I'll bring Basil, my dog, and
Bobby, don't
Yeah.
do anything that you don't feel comfortable doing. But I just want to know where he works and where he likes to go after work. You're not betraying your debt. I would never ask you to do that.
All right, well, gee, thanks, thanks, Dougal. I appreciate this. You know, one day I want to be a doctor myself. You know, they saved me. I want to save other people.
Hey, Bobby, I think one day you could be a doctor. It's very possible. You listen and follow routines better than any boy I've ever known. But remember this: some people deal medicine that helps people, and some people serve alcohol. Both. of valuable professions.
Yeah, no doubt, Mr. Dougal. I agree. I agree. You pay me, at least, and you're honest, so... That's what I like about you most.
You're a good lass. Keep your nose clean. And I throw him a sixpence or whatever the hell they had back then.
I think just normal like pennies and stuff, right? Like I don't know. Am I crazy? Did they have different
Big pennies.
currencies?
I
Yeah.
Throw 'em a
Oh, I
nickel.
like a sixpence.
A sixpence, isn't that?
Let me go and stick with the sixpence.
Whether these stories are right or not, my dad tells stories. He grew up in the 40s
Okay.
of like going with a nickel to go grocery shopping and getting like bread and eggs and meat for like a nickel.
Yeah. Obviously, the old yeah. Back in my day, the uphill both ways sort of thing.
He also
Yeah.
tells stories of buying one egg. That's how poor they were. I was like, yeah, we got an egg.
Yeah, one egg. That's actually how much I can afford right now in 2023. One egg.
Yeah,
Singular egg.
Yeah.
I
Damn
just,
inflation.
May
Yeah.
I offer you an
Am I
egg
right?
in this trying time?
Hey, pigeon eggs are free.
No, thank you. Stick to my standard chicken. My wife the other day was like, "We should get some chickens," and I was like, "No, no, we're not doing that.
You don't think that would be fun for your kids, Bob?
I don't need one more creature that I need to take care of.
You don't have enough stress already?
I don't need any more things that I need to be responsible for their lives. That's it."
There's a weird loophole. I don't think chickens count, but if you get like certain livestock, like I know someone did this with an alpaca, you get to classify yourself as a farm and your taxes go way down.
Okay, well now we're talking, John. Bring on the chickens.
That's just the accountant in me. We can have this conversation. You might not have enough space, though.
No, I don't think so. But we're not getting chickens, all right, everybody? But back in this day, I mean, you probably had some chickens running around the streets, I would assume. We'll see. But Bobby Linsky is, like I said, he's a young kid. He's 12. He seems very impressionable. He does the paper route. He's got a debt to Mr. Corbitt, but he'll do your bidding. He'll do it. He'll do it because you're paying him and he trusts you. I'm not even going to make a roll for this because, like I said, he works for you. He does things for you all the time. If in the future, though, you get some sort of information, you might have to persuade him to do certain things, whether it's a fast talk or something like that. You might have to convince him depending on the scenario. But right now, without any information, just saying, hey, do me a favor, tail him, see what you can find out. He seems willing. All right?
And one last thing I just say, Bobby.
Yeah.
Keep yourself safe.
Keep your what?
Keep yourself safe.
Yeah, I will do, Mr. Dougal. You don't have to worry about me.
I'll have a nice hot meal ready for you when you get back here tomorrow evening.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Dougal. Appreciate that. All right, he'll head out. He's going to do his normal routine for you, whatever it would be, sweeping up and doing stuff. But he'll do that.
Or should I have him meet us at Grandma's?
If you want him to meet at Grandma's, or he could, it's up to you. You're his boss in this scenario, so.
Have him meet me back here.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think when I want the information.
Right, exactly. Do you want him showing up across the street from Mr. Corbitt?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right. So Bobby Linsky is on the job. Now for Father Kelly, you hop on the bus in the morning, first thing, bright and early. You head back to Maeve's house, and you and Maggie are going to head to Harvard. Now, for those of you who don't know, Harvard is just about 3 miles away from Boston, so it's not close. You'll need to take some transportation. Granny will allow you to drive her car.
I was just about to ask.
Yeah, she'll let you drive the car. And in fact, I had the car picked out, and I forgot. But
very cool. There's so many cool ones. Cause you have a Rolls Royce. There's really cool Rolls Royces. We're not that expensive.
She drives only American, obviously.
A Pierce Arrow Series 36.
No, that would be. What is that? What's a Pierce Arrow?
There's so many. An Otis. There's so many. I just love all. A Marmot Lock Body Phantom. I love all the names of cars that don't exist anymore because the Model T killed all of them.
Wow. Yeah, so for this time period, we're looking at 19... She's got an Oldsmobile. Yeah, an Oldsmobile. No, I'm sorry. Oh, I see the Pierce Arrow. That's expensive, isn't it? Ooh, maybe she does have a Pierce Arrow. I was going to go with the Oldsmobile 43 AC, but, to be honest with you, your family's very wealthy, right?
Yes.
All right. She's going to go with something a little more contemporary here. She'll go with the Ford. No, I'm going to go with my Oldsmobile. She's going to go with the Oldsmobile. It's tried and true. It was Grandpa's car. She's not going to get rid of it.
Oldsmobile was pretty luxurious too. It's nothing super bad with that.
Yeah, no, it's probably, and they probably were able to buy it without an issue. Cash on hand, you know what I mean? So she'll let you drive it, Father Kelly.
Oh. Well, that's not the right choice, though.
Well, again, you don't have to make a drive auto check to drive down the street.
Okay, well then, I'm happy to drive.
Drive auto
Granny,
would be...
Granny, I can drive.
Yes.
You know I can drive.
Dear, you don't have a license.
But I can drive. Better than he can.
The last thing I need is your father calling me up saying, why is my daughter locked in a cell in, what do they have? Harvard police? Harvard security? Trapped in the dungeon of the boiler room at Harvard? No. Kind of institution is that anyway?
They even let women drive. You just got the vote a couple of years ago.
Oh, you're not even here, Dougal. She looks to the side. But anyway, yeah, she'll let you drive, Tim. Unless you really want to fast talk her, you want to get her to give you the car keys.
No, Maggie's just gonna drive the whole way, like slumped down in her seat, just like
Okay.
mad. And I'm gonna ask Father Dougal. Imagine that, Father Kelly, to park a couple blocks away from campus. So if any of her revolutionary friends are on campus, they don't see her getting out of a nice, luxurious car.
Oh, I was being white knuckling the steering wheel like Hans Moleman from The Simpsons. I hate driving.
Are you like a super defensive driver, just going 3
Super
miles per hour?
defensive driver. Last time I was in one of these newfangled automobiles was driving a Willys Jeep across the battlefields of Verdun, and I hated it then and I hate it now.
Herbert Hoover
Father,
was president when that happened, wasn't he?
Didn't the Willies come out in World War II?
I was driving a half track across the battlefields of Verdun that I liberated from a German camp.
Father, you can go a little faster here. There's no cars around, no people. You can speed up a little bit.
Back then we called them Kaiser cars, and we only took them.
Well, this lovely trip to Harvard is
To 3 blocks away from Harvard, I want.
yes,
3 blocks
parked-
away from Harvard.
yes, a few
Definitely.
blocks.
Please, Father.
You can walk the rest of the way. That's fine.
Yes.
You head to Harvard's library. It's a grand hall, and you can see when you get to the campus, there are very few people there. I mean, there's obviously a staff. There's obviously some people doing research throughout the summer, but for the most part, there's no regular class in session, and so it looks kind of barren. You don't see any of your regular friends around as you stroll through campus, but you can get to the library. Harvard the library is a very functioning library. It works. It's got all the things that you might need, not only research, history, but it has its own things that would be, like newspaper articles, things like that, things that they would preserve and keep as well from the time. So how do you want to go about this? Do you want to look for anything regarding you want to look up like records of Mr. Corbitt or things like that, or something that might newspaper clippings, anything of his name, or do you want to search different things?
I would like to search his name and also the other neighbor, like any, I guess Miss Hart. Harriet Hart. I'd like to, see if there's anything like I think we established he was a widower. Is there like a death certificate or a notice for his wife, deceased wife in the paper? Why did she die? Like, what's his whole deal? At some point, also, I think Maggie would try to sneak out and make a phone call on if there's a public telephone, to one of her friends.
Do they have those in 1927? That's a good question. Can you look that up?
Yeah, I can look that up.
Yeah. I don't know that there are like payphones, are there?
You can find out.
Okay,
Let's
find
see.
that out, because that's something I don't know the technology of. But you could do that. So you can try to like eventually kind of get away from Father Kelly. But Father Kelly, Jacques, what do you do? You enter into the library and you can see a librarian there. She'll see you. She's the typical librarian face, the thick framed glasses, hair kind of tied up in a bun. Very proper attire, sweater over the buttoned up shirt. And she'll, again, look kind of like down her nose at all of you as she sees through the lens of her glasses. And she'll go, "Can I help you? Are you students here?"
Yes, I am a student. I'll flash my ID. Do I know this person by name? Have I encountered them before at the library?
Her name is Miriam Bosch. She's I would say one of the more regular librarians here. Whenever you come in, you've seen her, but looks like they have more of a skeleton crew today. Obviously, being the summer, they don't need as many staff.
Yeah, Mrs. Bosch, I'm just back visiting on campus briefly to use the library here, and Father Kelly here is my family's spiritual advisor, just helping me do some research that we need.
Yes, Miss Moran, isn't it? Yes, the hockey player?
Yes, that is me.
How nice. Great. Father Kelly and you are doing research, you say?
Yes, at the request of my dear grandmother, Maeve Moran. You may have heard of her.
Yes, everyone knows Maeve Moran. The donations she makes every year are quite plentiful.
Yes, we are just doing some. She is organizing some community gatherings, and we just want to find out what we can about the neighborhood and help her in this endeavor. You know, she fell recently. She's having trouble walking, and I just want to do everything I can to support her in this time.
Well, you know where all the newspapers are located, and you're familiar with the new Dewey Decimal System, of course.
Of course, naturally.
I just looked it up. It's actually 1876. It definitely would have been fine at this point.
Yes.
But
Also,
she's like,
payphones are a thing. I looked it up.
well then, yes, you make yourselves at home. We don't have the regular staff today. It's a summer term, so if you need anything, please don't hesitate. Father, she nods.
I'll say, may the light of Hyperius be upon you.
Yes, Father. Yes, she'll make the sign of the cross as you pass. So, give me. So here's what we're gonna do. So in terms of looking up like newspaper clippings, you're gonna give me a use library check. If you would like to help along with this, or you do it yourself, Tim, you could make one as well. And whatever you get, depending on what you're gonna look for a regular. You're looking for a regular success here. So if you get a regular success, whichever one of you gets it, will find things that the other might not have found.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Let me switch over to our other screen here.
Oh, I did not do very well. Looks like Father Kelly did pretty well. I had a 78 over 50.
That kind of makes sense to me personally, because Dasha, I think you said you wanted to kind of like get away, so you maybe not have been as involved in the
I am
research.
half-assing this. I'm looking for any opportunity I can get to escape and use the payphone to call my friends.
Why don't we do that? How about this? Father Kelly continues on, and he's like, "I think I've got something." You do find something, Father Kelly. You feel like you're on the right trail.
30 for your reference to.
What'd you get?
36 over 50. Sorry.
That's a success. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's what you'll see here. Just want to make sure I'm not giving you the wrong information. You'll find some public history, newspaper clippings, headlines discussing Mr. Corbitt. In fact, you find out that he runs a very successful company called Corbitt Importers of America. It's located in the north end of Boston. You might want to, I don't know if you want to write this down or you type it
down my notes, yeah.
Gotcha. He's the founder of The company is Mr. Theodore Corbitt, the late Theodore Corbitt. You'll also see that maybe an obituary that shows Mr. Theodore Corbitt, that he passed away while on a trip in India. He's survived by his son, Bernard Corbitt, and his wife. Sorry, excuse me. No, that's it. You find he's survived by his son, Bernard Corbitt. And then in terms of his business dealings, you find some other newspaper stories about the Corbitt Importers of America. Some 40 years ago, Theodore, some 40 years ago, founded the company. It's been I guess he would import and export all different sorts of things out of Boston Harbor, and he is actually one of the inductees into the Men of Industry, a local businessmen's club.
That Theodore was inducted, or Bernard was, or both were, sorry?
Both. Yep. The Men of Industry is the name of this local businessmen's club.
Got it.
And you can find the address of said, like I said, business.
Of the business or the men's club? I'm sorry.
The business. The Importers of America. Yeah.
Okay.
Although I think with some asking around, you could probably find out where those other people meet. The club, the gentleman's club. Not gentleman's club, businessmen's club.
Yep. They're close. They're almost the same.
Yeah, the Businessmen's Club of America. I'm gonna get these names mixed up actually because it's. I just want to make sure I'm clear. It's the Importers of America, Corbitt Importers of America, and the Men of Industry. That's the social club, and then their corporations, the former.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's gotcha. Bernard and Theodore.
Theodore. Yes, exactly. Yeah, their business was founded about 40 years ago.
Got it.
I'm going to have you go ahead and give me another use library check, as you feel like you've searched more about the business at this point. Maybe you want to see if there's anything personal about Mr. Corbitt.
Yeah, that's a 56 over 50.
Okay, so you're not able to find that just yet. So
my secondary too. It's the number, the 56 is what I rolled, and then the over is my stat.
Correct. Now, remember, you do have luck. I think all of you have luck at this point because we haven't used any of it. You can swap out some luck to pass to whatever points you. It's a one for one basis. So if you wanted to use luck, you can bring it to the threshold that you need. This is a regular success as well. You would need. How much luck do you have?
Let's do that then. I'll use this. What do I need? 6 luck then? 6 luck?
Is it 6? You're 50.
50 is my library use percentage, yeah.
So then, yes, to get a regular success, you'd have to use luck to bring it down to 50. Just remember, your luck permanently will go down.
Okay, so if I'm looking at my sheet now, my starting luck remains 55. I should make my current luck 49.
Yes, exactly. You'd subtract 6 from it.
Got it. Okay.
Also, one thing to note, if you've used a skill so far tonight, check that box off if you were successful at it. Luck doesn't count, though.
Got it.
So if you use luck to succeed, you don't. But I think you did pass a library to find information about the business.
I did pass one library.
Okay, so now we're taking a separate one to look more into the personal lives of Mr. Corbitt. Meanwhile, Maggie, you steal away. He's like, I got something. And he's sifting through newspapers, and you're like, boring. You head to a payphone.
Yes.
What do you do?
I'm going to dial the number of a friend who's maybe staying in the dorms over the summer, and I'm going to say maybe he's like the leader of the youth communist underground here at Harvard. Like the student, he's like the main student that's like agitating and getting other people to like learn about communism.
Yeah.
And I want to see if he has any like relevant I don't know if communists would be involved in shady dealings in Boston around this time, but maybe he has some information. Also,
You're-
maybe just to like vent to him and be like, "This sucks. I've been stuck at my grandma's. I can't see any of my friends. Now there's this weird guy across the street with body parts falling out of his like car. Like, what is going on? I hate this."
Oh my God, Harvard was called Kremlin on the Charles for a while.
Yeah, there was we
Interesting.
talked about this, a Red Scare in Boston, and this is all historically accurate here.
That's very
In fact, this is a true story that we're telling today. So
We are doing so much Googling on 1927. It's just 1927 just lives in my Google line.
Yeah.
And then whatever I want to type after.
yeah. So Dasha, Maggie picks up the receiver, talks to an operator, and you get connected to your friend Thomas Hinckley's house.
Thomas Hinckley.
Thomas Hinckley. He answers the
Okay.
phone. Hello. This is
Tommy,
Thomas.
is that you?
Yes. Who is this?
Tommy, it's Maggie. I'm so happy I got a hold of you.
Maggie Moran?
Yes,
I thought you'd been locked up for the summer.
I have been. It's horrible. I've been. Don't get me wrong. I love my grandma. I'm happy to help her, but she won't let me go anywhere. She won't even let me drive the car.
You mean
I
that
can't go to
fat
campus?
capitalist pig?
Yes. Well, you know, my grandmother's. She's better than the rest of them. She, dismissed all the servants. She's good.
Yeah. Sure. Well, anyway. Look, I'm not going to hold it against you. Your family's rich, but at least you don't believe in keeping all that money. You'd spread the wealth if it was yours.
No, yes, absolutely, I would. The second I inherit anything, I will spread it to the people.
Good. Yeah. We got to do a lot in this neighborhood, I tell you.
Yeah. Well, it's scary the things wealth will do to people, and my grandma's not bad, but some of the neighbors are so entitled and think they can get away with anything. Just yesterday we were having dinner and the man across the street gets out of his fancy capitalist car and is holding some packages, and what looks like an arm falls out, maybe a child's arm. So I don't know. I'm just trying to find some information and figure out what's going on here.
You just hear silence on the end of the line.
Thomas?
You hear a little bit of like a like clearing of the throat. Did you say an arm?
I did. I think I was. No, I don't think. I'm sure of what I saw. It was an arm. But then he comes over. 5 minutes later. Just acting normal. I mean, his hands were a little sweaty. He seemed maybe a little bit nervous, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary.
Listen, look, I don't want to get caught up in the wrong crowd here. What do you need?
I don't know. I guess I just wanted to talk, and I haven't talked to anyone all summer, and I don't know. Maybe if you hear anything, just give me a call. You know where you can reach me. Just don't say you're Thomas. Say you're someone else. My grandma doesn't want me talking to people from school.
I'll say I'm a Vanderbilt.
Sure, she'll like that. She's trying to marry me off now.
Oh, God. Next thing you're going to
So-
tell me is you found religion.
Ha! Yeah, that would be real funny, wouldn't it? She looks back over at the library where Father Kelly's.
He's got his rosary out. He's like, dear God, please let me find...
Maggie, it's time to say your prayers. Yeah, wouldn't that be funny, Thomas? Anyway, I'll let you go. Thank you for listening. I just needed to talk to someone who, someone who understands me and isn't trying to force me into this life that I don't want to be a part of. But if you do hear anything, please.
You just hear a click on the
Let me
other end
know.
of the line.
She'll skulk back to the library.
You found something, though. As you head back and you see Father Kelly there, you can see he's got newspaper clippings scattered on a table, and he's got a big file of 19... Let's see. some newspaper clippings from like maybe over 10 years ago now. Some like Boston Gazette, whatever, Boston Herald things. And so he's thumbing through. You can share whatever you'd like, Tim. Obviously, the stuff about his business, that was the first roll.
Yeah.
And then by sheer luck, or maybe it's divine intervention, you find some more personal things in the news related to Mr. Bernard Corbitt. But at this point, you've got Miss Bosch, Miriam Bosch. She's coming over. What do you do? Do you want to grab the papers?
You can like take them and like hide them from her.
Yeah. Well, what do you want to do? She's approaching, and you've got these things scattered all over the place.
No, it's a library. I don't have any reason to hide papers in a library. It would be absurd.
Fair enough. She comes over and she says, "Everything going fine with the research?"
Yes, it's been very enlightening.
She kind of
Thank you.
looks over to the table to see what you're looking at.
Personal project on one of my parishioners' family history.
She looks at the headline. Oh, Mr. Corbitt. Is he running for mayor?
You know, I heard he might be, in fact.
Well, I've heard that rumor floating around for quite some time. With him really having all this free time now.
Well, the things we can do with our free time, right?
She looks around and she goes, "I'd love to read about it one time." And she looks to both of you and she'll nod. "Carry on." And she'll...
Am I back at this point?
Yeah, you come back now. You
I
see
want to
Miss
ask
Harriet.
her, what do you mean free time? I hear he's a hardworking man.
Oh, yes, I mean, he does have his business I'm sure he's very attentive to, but, well, he's a widower. Some odd
okay.
years ago, his wife passed away. Something horrible, I think. A tragedy.
What kind of tragedy?
I'm not quite sure, but I believe she was pregnant. There was a terrible, terrible event, I believe. A miscarriage. Both of them died.
How gruesome.
Yes. Well, that's
what happens when women are denied the freedom to live their lives as they want, to work, forced to stay at home and be wives and just have children year after year. That's what happens. That's what's wrong with this society.
As a working woman myself, I agree with you, I think, Miss Moran.
Maggie has gained some newfound respect for Miss Bosch. Will nod at her.
Yeah, she doesn't have a husband, and she's working in the library. She's been there since you've been here this year. She's there regularly every day. She'll nod and tell you to continue the good work.
Can we do some more digging, specifically looking for that information on the wife now that we know more specifics?
Well, while you were making your phone call, Tim, you found Father Kelly, I should say, found some interesting details. Here's what you find.
Yeah.
I actually have, for these, can we just do something a little different here? So I'm going to give you the handouts and roll 20.
Okay.
All right, let me switch us over here. And I don't want to exclude John from a lot of this. So maybe what we'll do is you found as many newspaper clippings as you can. There were a lot. So you take the ones that seem interesting at a glance. But Ms. Moran seems to be interested. You notice her looking over and over again. While you have a newfound respect for her, you also don't want her to just, be aware of what you're researching. So maybe it's best to take what you can and try to steal away with it. So, just leave with it.
Yeah.
So you can grab a whole bunch of different clippings and bring them with you back to the house, and you'll meet there. Now, obviously, you can read them in the car, or you can look at them once you have your privacy, but we'll just say that you get back to the house and boom, you lay it all out there. And so, Dougal, you're there at the dining room table. Again, that's headquarters, that's the central. Granny's there with her walker. She sits down at the head, and she goes, "Show us what you've got." And here's what you've got. I'm going to give you a couple of handouts. Dasha and or Tim, I'll have you read it because your characters would have read it.
Sure.
Let me just make sure I'm only giving you the handout and not something that you shouldn't. Roll 20 sometimes
Gets cagey.
Yeah, well, remember when we used to play, well, actually, you don't remember that all, but Dasha remembers in the Icewind Dale one, the official Icewind Dale Rime of the Frostbane game, there were, like, so many spoilers on, like, and, handouts that you're supposed to give to the people. So,
Yeah.
I don't want to I want to make sure I'm giving you the right ones. Okay, I think this is, yes. Okay, this should be good. So I'm going to give you this. Here we go. Why don't you, Dasha, or Tim, you found this one first. You read it, okay?
Sure. Local businessman killed in an accident. It was learned today that Theodore Corbitt, owner of Corbitt Importers of America, is dead, a victim of a tragic accident while vacationing in India. Corbitt, while in the company of his son Bernard, died in a fall while the two were traveling through the high mountains of the Punjab. According to authorities, the two men were on a hiking trip when they were set upon by a group of bandits known to frequent the area. While being pursued down the mountainside, the elder Corbitt apparently lost his footing and fell to his death. His son managed to escape, eventually making it to safety. The elder Corbitt's body has not yet been located, and authorities fear that it may be lost, possibly consumed by the wild dogs that roam the mountain. Theodore Corbitt is survived by his wife Elaine and one son Bernard. At the time, it does not know if Bernard Corbitt will take over the management of the family business. Dated 14 years ago.
So again, that brief headline that I read to you when you were in the library, this is the full story.
Yes.
About Theodore Corbitt. Here is handout number 2. Dasha, do you want to read this one?
Sure. Nurse hospitalized after accident in patient's home. Professional nurse Miss Mona Dunlap was admitted to Central Sanitarium yesterday following an accident that took place in a patient's home. Her condition was diagnosed as serious. Miss Dunlap, hired by Mr. and Mrs. Bernard Corbitt to help with Mrs. Corbitt's confinement, apparently suffered a stroke while attempting to deliver the Corbitt's baby unassisted. Mr. Corbitt returned from his office Wednesday afternoon to find Nurse Dunlap unconscious and his wife and infant son dead due to complications arising from the birth. Doctors at the sanitarium say the woman has yet to regain consciousness, and it may be some time before the full extent of her injuries are known. And then on the left, obituaries. Corbitt Lynn Ann Myers, age 22, died in childbirth in her home. A graduate of the Pierpoint School, Mrs. Corbitt was married to local businessman Bernard Corbitt 2 years ago. Funeral services for both mother and child will be held on Saturday afternoon. Mrs. Corbitt is survived by her parents, Edward and Shirley Myers, and her husband, Bernard Corbitt, president of Corbitt Importers of America. Both articles dated 12 years ago.
Okay. So, your research has brought you these pieces of information about Mr. Corbitt, and Granny looks to all of you and she goes, well, what does it mean then? These all happened before I lived here.
I find it strange that there are no details of the nurse's condition. Why was she... what happened to her? Was it something psychological? Was she traumatized by this birth, or was it some illness? Oh, a stroke. It says a stroke. A stroke. I missed that.
Isn't that rather much of a coincidence, huh? Mother to go
Yes.
into early labor and die in childbirth, and the
It's quite
attendant to have
strange.
a stroke.
Well, I think we might want to talk to the nurse if she's still around.
Where did it say she was?
Central
Maggie, I
Sanitarium.
can't read it, Maggie. Give me my glasses.
I'll pass her the glasses. It says Central Sanitarium, Granny.
Where is that?
I think it's right next to Arkham Asylum.
Not Arkham, but it is a sanitarium that's just maybe about a half an hour drive from where you live.
Or we might have to get in contact with Mrs. Dunlap and find out exactly what happened on that day. I don't know about any of you youngins, and father, I know you're never gonna be a father, but people do some crazy things when their babies die. I'm really starting to believe whether or not Bernard Corbitt was not willing to accept the death of his baby.
You
What are
certainly
you
had a rough
implying?
2-year run.
Say it again. What'd you say, Tim?
You had a rough 2-year run there.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Maybe a spot of bad luck when you've been messing with something you're not supposed to be messing with. Maybe taking some. Ugh, I'm not a man that believes in the hocus pocus heebie-jeebies father, but luck is something I do believe in. You don't want to get in the wrong side of luck.
Faith and luck are two sides of the same coin.
It looks like they never found his father's body.
Yeah, you do remember that from the first article, that it fell down that like ravine.
Yeah, and they said that maybe wild dogs got him up there. There was no recovery.
I got a question, Maeve. The husband, was he the one who told me about the hunting trip in India? Maybe he was telling stories he heard from Mr. Corbitt and trying to take them stories into his own life.
Oh, Mort, no. Mort has been telling that Indian story for, good 30 years now.
I had to ask.
No, that's something he's always told, but India is a fascinating place. That's why we've always wanted to go. Now I feel a bit of a chill when I think of it.
Yeah, my cousin Elmer was conscripted to put down one of the uprisings. You know, back when my family was part of the King's Guard. Part of the same colonial network.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
There were uprisings, you know. We forced. I'm not British. Now I'm assuming the characters
We.
so well. Yeah.
cheerio, good chap.
We're Brits. We're English. No, I'm not English.
No, you wouldn't consider yourself English.
I'm a Brit.
So, Granny says, did you find out anything about, dare I say, people who can get body parts?
No, we never had that conversation. I want, before I contact me friends in the underground, I'd like to have a bit of question. But I did, hire one of my boys to follow Mr. Corbitt around and learn his routine. If we can learn when he comes and when he goes, maybe we can get inside that greenhouse.
I'll keep an eye on the house as well. I'm a bit interested to see what his daily schedule is actually like. Never really thought to take much note of it before. And perhaps there is more to his daily routine, but you sure you can trust this paper boy?
Well, Paperboy's been doing the errands for a long time. And never give me no trouble. He does have a personal relationship with Mr. Corbitt.
What? Wait, you didn't hire little Bobby?
Yeah, Bobby Linsky.
You hired Bobby Linsky, the paper boy who brings me my morning news every day.
One of the most trusted Polish boys I've ever met.
Bobby Linsky couldn't pick a killer out of a lineup if they all were labeled killers. He could barely pick his nose.
That's exactly why. I don't need no errand boy that thinks too much. I just need an errand boy that does the errand.
He wants to be a doctor one day. Ha! I'd be in the grave if he performed my surgery.
Granny, did Bobby ever do to you?
Ah, other than break my window that one time, he threw the paper right through the bay window.
Aye, that sounds a bit like Bobby. He's always got that little bit of a limp left.
He
I
might
don't
be
know why
a-
he doesn't start throwing with his right.
He might be a better fit for the socks, if you ask me, than a doctor.
Nobody's gonna ever pitch as well as that guy Ruth. What a pitcher!
Herman?
Why'd they have to trade him to the Yankees?
Don't even say his name anymore. He's dead to me.
He was
George
traded.
Herman Ruth. He's dead to me.
What
That
problem that you have with someone? You should have a problem with that. Donkey's
Go
arse
ahead.
you pull an owner. Oh my god, it's so hard to not
Go
curse. It is so hard to not curse.
Well, listen, I don't know where to go from here. What should we do now? She looks to Father Jacques.
Well, could we get maybe, I don't know, if there were funeral services, I'm assuming they got buried somewhere, maybe near a church, maybe your church or some other church would have some records about the mother
Oi,
and
oi.
child.
There's a bunch of things I'm gonna do, and I'll do a lot of things, but I'm not digging up no dead bodies.
I'm not saying you need to dig up a body, Dougal. I'm just saying we can talk to the person who maybe did the autopsy, get some records on cause of death, things of that nature.
Did mention she's survived by her parents too. We could speak to them.
We could.
Ugh.
I could say I'm doing a project on genealogy and affluent families of the Boston suburbs and
Oi, maybe
See.
genealogy of the neighborhood.
genealogy of the neighborhood.
Give yourself a bit more of a familial connection. They don't let them think you're just some poor reporter. People like that will never speak to a reporter.
Oh, I'm a Harvard student. I'm doing a research project for a class.
Yeah,
If anybody takes that institution seriously.
Many people do, Granny. Many people do. You'll see.
you might be better off saying you're a high school girl who's doing a local project. That damn near school does not get a good reputation. It's a little bit alarming when some learned girl who wants to learn things comes about town.
Do I look like a high school girl to you? She says, looking definitely like a high school girl.
I
He's a
didn't,
good linebacker.
Yeah, linebacker. You look down at Dougal.
That's true. That's true.
yeah, my size is only 55.
Yeah, you're probably taller than Dougal.
I never
I think I am.
Yeah, I'm short. I love this character is hilarious. He's short, uneducated, handsome.
My size, my size is 75.
You're huge.
Huge.
Yeah, I'm a 55.
You hear a car screech to a halt outside, and you can see your neighbor, Miss Harriet Hart. She gets out of the passenger side of the vehicle. She has a cane. She seems to be capable of moving on her own, but Miss Rebecca Wallace, who's her living companion, is the one carrying things for her, carrying bags, and looks like they've got groceries. It's her typical Monday errand. Miss Harriet Hart is she's about 50 herself, but she seems very capable. And like I said, she's been the companion for Miss Harriet Hart for quite some years, probably since you've been here at least. Since your granny's been here at least.
Father, now might be the time to go talk
Yes.
to your parishioner.
Yes, I will step outside and offer to help Miss Wallace carrying whatever goods and accoutrements she has.
Yeah, Miss Wallace, you probably know from the church. Her husband Walter, he died probably over 10 years ago now of the Spanish flu.
Oh my.
He also no, sorry, excuse me, no. How old are you?
32, I think I wrote. Give me a second, I have an
yeah.
exact number.
He's a little too old, but after the Great War, when you came back, that was a big thing. Spanish influenza started spread around the Northeast, and he caught it. So probably about 10 years ago, he caught the, maybe less than that, I guess, but roughly before Granny lived here. And so you head out, you grab her groceries and things like that. She goes, Father Jacques! Oh, here on a Monday as well.
The Lord's work never ends.
No, it doesn't. And Lord knows we need help. And she looks over the curmudgeon-y Harriet Hart, says to her, Come now. Those bags aren't going to carry themselves. Into the home.
Miss Wallace, let me help you.
Father, no need today. No need. It's been a trying morning. They didn't have any rutabaga at the grocer.
Truly, the Lord tests us in mysterious ways, Miss Hart. Truly, he does. Have you asked your neighbor, Mr. Corbitt? He's quite the green thumb, I'm told.
Mr. Corbitt? Yeah. I could ask him for some vegetables as he brings to everyone here on the neighbor, but I don't need any help. I'm a perfectly capable, confident woman, despite what Miss Rebecca might say about me.
I have no doubt about it, Miss Hart. No doubt at all.
Hips strong, and she looks over to the house. Maggie, are you outside the house or are you inside?
I'm like peeking from behind the front door.
The hip is strong. She'll say it loud enough so you could hear. Maybe so Maeve could hear.
I'm imagining it Maggie's peeking out and then Granny's peeking out right behind.
Yeah, Granny's like,
One on
son
top,
of a...
one on the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
Granny's
One is
like-
way on top. The other one is
Granny's like, what
Walking.
did she just say? She say something about my hip?
The old bingo hall rivalry, huh?
Yes. Well, out with it, Mr. Father Jock. What do you need?
We just general niceties. We haven't seen you at service in a while, Miss Hart, and we were me and the deacon were starting to get worried about you. Figured while I was in the neighborhood, I would just check in on you.
The deacon. He says, that man. If you knew him when I knew him, wouldn't think too much of him, that's for sure. He's the same age as I am. We're born a month apart.
I did not know.
Yes. I won't be taking any advice from him. Thank you very much.
Well, you want to take advice from him, you can take advice from the Lord, and we hope to see you on Sunday.
Yes, wonderful. No questions?
I feel like I had one, and I have no idea what it was.
Excellent. Then we're done here. Rebecca, please, take me inside. I grow tired in the heat. Rebecca's kind of smiles at you, nods, and she goes, Thank you for everything, Father. Appreciate the carrying the groceries to the door. We'll take it from here.
Miss Wallace, I'll see you on Sunday. Miss Hart, I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, of course. All right, yes, I'll bring everything in. She closes the door behind her.
I will sheepishly walk back to Maeve's.
Give me a spot hidden, Tim.
Sure.
Could I hear this conversation?
Yeah, you had the
Okay.
door cracked, right?
Yeah.
Then you could definitely hear it.
Yeah. Father, why didn't you ask about the deacon? How did she know the deacon? What did the deacon do? Maggie, probably Maeve too, want all the gossip on the deacon.
84 over, I'm sure whatever it is not that high.
Okay, 84 over your... Yeah, so it's a failure.
84 over 25, yeah.
Okay, so you head back into the house, and they close the door. You head back into the dining room. Well, what did you find out? Maeve says.
That your neighbor is an old biddy, and she has nothing polite to say about you.
I knew that already. But
Well,
did you
then I have
ask her
nothing
about... Did you ask her about Mr. Corbitt?
She said she doesn't want his vegetables, and certainly not his rutabagas.
And?
Why? Why not?
Why?
It tasted like perfectly good.
She said she is perfectly capable of doing everything by herself and doesn't want any help from Mr. Corbitt or seemingly anyone else besides her, Miss Wallace.
Besides her
Love that.
hired help, her servants. I see how it is.
Oh yeah, we know they're all a bunch of hypocrites. All right, get off your high horse, Maggie. We agree with you. We just don't get talking about it.
We have to talk about it so more people know, so more people spread the message, Dougal.
All right. I don't know about the rest of you. Well, I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated. with our pace. When do you think we should break into the house?
Break in, or we're breaking into his house now.
Thou shalt not steal.
It's only stealing if we take it.
When's his boy Bobby Linsky supposed to give you information?
This evening back at the bar. I wasn't gonna have him come round here and raise any more suspicion. Already though, coming here 3 nights in a row is gonna raise some suspicion. Granny, I think you need to pretend to be sick. Why else would we be coming around so often? People are gonna start to notice.
Good question. Perhaps we give it a day or two. We let it breathe. We'll decipher. Maggie and I will pour through these newspaper clippings. We'll see if there's anything else we can infer. In the meantime, go about your day. Talk to Bobby Linsky. We'll say we meet back here Wednesday.
Oi, oi.
I'll
All right.
be here.
See you all then.
All right. So the two of you exit. You head back to your homes. Maggie, you stay around. Granny keeps a chair sitting by the living room window. Obviously, there's the sofa by the bay window. She's turned it around. Every so often, she'll just sit there, and you kind of do the same. The next night, we'll say it's Tuesday night. Bobby Linsky comes back into your bar for his typical shift. Hey, Mr. Dougal. Hey, can I talk to you in the back room? It's bustling now. You've got the whole the bars open, and you got people. The speakeasy's doing well that night.
Sure. I top off a couple of customers at the bar, and I walk to the back.
Yeah, it's a busy night. Tuesday night seems to be a big one.
I don't run it by myself. There's some other people there.
Yeah. I'm sure you do. Yeah. He says, "Look, the last 2 days I've been following around Mr. Corbitt. I do my paper route. I see him leave in the morning, right? I know he drives down into the North End. So then I hop on a bus and I went down to his place of business, and I was watching. I mean, his car's parked out there. He stayed, and around lunchtime, he went to the diner. He got like a corned beef Reuben. And what was it? Black coffee, of course, And I was watching him eat. And I stayed, and it was really weird. I was watching from the window, got real hungry as I was watching him eat. And then he got out and he didn't get back in his car. You know where he went?
To the cemetery?
No, that'd be really weird. Why?
You asked me what would be weird. I came up with a weird idea.
Now, that'd be really weird. I wouldn't have followed him to the cemetery.
All right, Bobby, get down in your story. It's
Yeah,
great so far. It's gripping.
He went to the hospital. The same hospital that he took me to 2 years ago.
Would it be called the sanatorium by any chance?
No, Boston General. Yeah. He took me where he took me 2 years ago.
When
He
he
went
came
in.
out of Boston General, did he have any packages in his hands?
No. He didn't have anything with him when he went in, and he didn't have anything with him when he came out. But it's the strangest thing. He left his car at the diner. He walked. I mean, it wasn't too far. I mean, I followed him. Maybe like a 10-minute walk, but he didn't drive down there. And then he came in. He was in there for maybe like 20 minutes or so, half an hour at most. I was starting to get tired. I figured he would be maybe he's visiting somebody who's sick or something. Figured maybe I would just head home for the day. But then he came out and went back to his car and drove back to on the North End. He went back to his warehouse. And that was it. And he stayed there and then drove back home. And I couldn't keep up with his car, so I just went home myself.
No, you did the right thing. What time did he leave the warehouse?
Probably about, I don't know, about like 4:30, 5 o'clock, something like that.
All right, 4:30, 5 o'clock. All right, Bobby.
Yeah. The strangest thing, though, just walked from the diner, went to the hospital, and then I don't know. I didn't see it. He didn't bring flowers. He didn't bring anything with him. I don't know who he was seeing.
About 20 minutes, you say?
Half an hour tops.
And on the walk back to the car, did he seem the same as when he was walking to the hospital? The way he walked, the way he looked. Was he humming a tune? Come on, Bobby.
You know, I think he was humming a tune. I don't remember what it was, but he didn't seem to be upset at all. If it was somebody sick in the hospital, you'd think he'd probably be upset.
Exactly, Bobby. Oh, you're a brilliant boy. You're gonna be a great doctor one day.
Oh, gee, thanks, Mr. Dugan. Dougal? Sorry, I forgot.
It's Mr. Dougal.
Mr.
And,
Dugan? Dougal? Thanks, Mr. Dougal. You need anything else tonight, or should I start sweeping up?
You know what, Bobby? You did a great job. You take the rest of the night off, and I flip him his
sixpence?
his nightly wage doubled.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Dougal. I appreciate this. He pockets the money and he'll put back his hat back on. He'll head back out.
Keep your nose clean, Bobby.
Maggie,
Yes.
it's about 4:30. No, it's about 5:30 on Tuesday. We're doing a Quentin Tarantino here. We're going back in time.
Okay.
All right, so that happened obviously Tuesday night when the bar opened, right? That conversation, I should say. And you, Granny goes, I thought this investigating stuff would be more interesting, don't you think, Maggie dear?
Well, I suppose it has been interesting so far, for me at least. Got a chance to go back to campus. But you should stay safe at home, Granny. I know you're capable, but with your hip, I don't want you in trouble. Dad'll kill me if I get you in trouble somehow.
Yeah, your father. Just like Mort. Just like his dad. Anyway, you and I, we're cut from the same cloth.
That we are, Granny.
Look, if you want to take the car next time you go out, you can.
Oh, thank you. That would be wonderful.
But
Thank
you're
you.
still going with Father Jock.
Oh, why must that man accompany me everywhere I go? Don't you trust me?
It's good to have Jesus with you. It's for your safety, dear. You know that.
I
Look.
can keep myself safe. I can take care of myself.
We Morans we're tough, right? We
Yes.
survive because we're tough.
Exactly. I don't need protection.
Well, look. I may not always be here one day. But if anything were to happen, you see the Remington up there? You take it,
I do.
okay? Anything happens, you take it. Now, I know you know how to work it. We used
I
to
do.
go, remember quail hunting?
Of course.
Remember that?
With Grandpa.
Yeah. Well, you need it. You take the buckshot, you go. All right? If something happens to me, look, I don't think Mr. Corbitt's, I'm not intimidated by him. But who knows what's going on in the mind of that man? You take it if you need it. Okay?
I will, but Granny, don't talk like that. Nothing's gonna happen to you.
Oh, before the hip, I'd say, yeah. I'd beat that man to a pulp, but I can't really move around, so. Look, all I'm saying, if something happens to me, you know what to do.
Yeah. I do.
All right, I need a break. She steps up from her chair that she put in front of the living room window, and she says, your turn. keep an eye on the house.
Will do.
All right, Granny's gonna go and take a nap or whatever, prepare dinner, maybe even.
Is there a telephone in the house?
Yeah, I would. I'm sure you do. If that technology is available, you have it.
Okay. I want to call one of my older brothers. I'm
Ooh.
assuming maybe one of them, or maybe several, work in or took over the family business.
Sure.
And I want to see if they have some intel on whatever this, what's it called?
The business club.
The business, yeah, the business club. Maybe are they in it, or do they know anything about Mr. Corbitt's company? Have they had business dealings with them in the past? So I'll call my older brother.
Yeah, it's called the
Men of Industry.
Men of Industry. Yeah.
Men of Industry, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Who are you calling?
I'll say my oldest brother, who's probably the most senior in the family business from my siblings.
Okay. Where would the phone be located? Do you think it would be like in your living room, the kitchen? I don't know. Where would it be located? And what type of phone are we talking about here? Is this like a rotary phone, or is this like something you need to like... I don't know the technology, so is
That's
this...
the operator. You call an operator first. The operator would phone you through to someone else.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So
I think it's that kind. Yeah,
it's
and
one where
maybe
you
in
take
the
Rotary dial.
maybe in the hallway or something. I don't know.
Sure. Okay, that's fine.
I'll keep an eye on the window from the hallway if I can, but I'll make the call now.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So you make the call, and the operator's putting you through, and it's the moment to talk to the operator, moment to do whatnot. And as you're looking out the window, you can see the car of Mr. Corbitt pull up, the same car you saw, 2 nights ago. He gets out of his car, no packages this time, just his briefcase, his business briefcase. He's got his hat on, business suit, heads to the front door. And this time, you're looking at the house, you're staring at it as the phone line is ringing. And your eyes catch something moving in the upstairs window. Give me a spot hidden check.
I just got chills. Spot hidden for me. Okay, I need to beat a 55.
Okay. A regular success is what you need.
81. I'm not rolling well today.
Too high, yeah. You only catch a glimpse. But what you see looks like the silhouette of a woman. Long hair, for certain. But Mr. Corbitt lives alone. And then the shades just kind of settle down in their motion. But you're certain you saw a woman's figure in that window as Mr. Corbitt closes the door and enters his home.
This is some Jane Eyre bullshit going
I'm
on
thinking
over
Bates
here.
Motel. This is Psycho, is what
And
this is.
this is part 1 of Mr. Corbitt. So far, what do you think, everybody?
I love the soundtrack in the background. There was an article in the New Yorker a year or two ago about the ode to the landline telephone and how much suspense adds to a film, and how a younger generation will never appreciate a landline telephone ringing to add suspense because they have no concept of it.
Yep.
And I love it.
I love
so
it too.
I imagine right at the end, you finally get that ring sound out, and it's, hello, Maggie, and then the scene ends.
Yeah.
We'll pick this back up next week, everybody. But what a great start to Call of Cthulhu.
Boy.
That was awesome.
I mean, this is a different type of game. We didn't have a goblin encounter. We didn't have,
No combat.
No combat.
But anyway, yeah. I feel like, and I didn't get a chance to really look at the chat at all tonight. I apologize, but I'll take a look at it as we go through at the end when I go through. But if we did anything wrong, I feel like it was mostly skill checks tonight, so it wasn't combat or anything too complicated. But if we did something wrong, let me know. But I think we had a great part 1, investigation. So, and I'm looking at it right now. Somebody said, Tim Ovens said, I've run this scenario multiple times for multiple groups. I love how it's different every single time. Well, nice one. Thank you. Appreciate that, Tim. Yeah, this is, if you've played the game, I think, long enough, from what I've read, the research I've done is that this is kind of like a famous one, a classic one. So we'll I'm excited to pick it up for part 2. I think it's great.
Having fun.
Yeah.
Stoked to be here.
See
Yeah.
everybody next Tuesday.
Yeah. We're going to be
Yes.
back on Tuesdays until this ends. Thank you for watching. If you would like to take a look at their characters or support the channel or check out any of the other links that we've discussed, all of that will be down in the description. Do me a favor, if you're watching this live, do comment on the actual video, get the algorithm going, and share the video with people that you know who like Call of Cthulhu. I'd like to introduce the channel to them. So stay tuned. We got more content.
Leave a comment telling us what Maggie's older brother's name should be. Only names that start with the letter M are acceptable in the Moran family, as we've learned
Maggie.
from Mort, Maeve, and Maggie.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's this little trend we got going on here. The mems. M&Ms.
I like it.
I like it a lot. Yeah. And next week we'll see what else we know about good old Mr. Corbitt, everyone's friendly neighbor. Till then, we'll see you on the tabletop, everybody. Have a great night.
Good night, guys.
Good night.